We had an absolutely exciting action at the first day of the final stage of the Grandmaster Triathlon at the 57th International Biel Chess Festival. We had already 5 players being eliminated before this final stage is approaching, and today we had 3 very exciting matches. We had Ike Martirosyan playing against Pragnananda, we had Lim Le battling it out against Abhimanyu Mishra, and we had the most exciting game of the round and most likely the best game for the Saleh Salem of the whole tournament. It's his game with white pieces against Vaishali. So let's go into the game and check it out. What happened there? We had d4, d5 on the board, and actually very early on the both players were out of preparation because normally Vaishali was playing a banco against Saleh Salem. In this case she went for a more solid approach, playing with d5. After knight f3 she went for a c5, and Salem said he was completely out and it was very fresh position for him. After a couple of moves they went for the isolated queen-pawn structure. Everything looks very forcing, so after a take on c5, Salem went for knight f3. He would like to capture on the d5. The castle has happened, take on d5, so now Vaishali was the one who was ambitious. She didn't take with a knight on the d5, but she rather decided to capture with a pawn, to have that isolated pawn and to have some chances in this game, because it was very important for her, since the tournament standings were showing her she should win the next 2 games if she wants to fight for the first place. Bishop e2, that's a normal setup. What do you have against the isolated queen's pawn? This looks something like the reverse queen's gambit accepted. In this case, white is the one who is having the extra tempo. Knight c6 is being played, and very early on, Emirati grandmasters went for this knight b5 idea. And his point is that after a5, there is no way black can stop and get the knight removed from the b5 there, and knight is located pretty much perfectly and blocking any ideas of black to create a potential attack on the king side. Rook e1, rook e8 has been played, the castle, very natural developing moves. h3 was actually very interesting choice by Emirati grandmaster, because in this position he has to be very careful of any pushes of the pawn on the king side. There could be a potential attack from black. Bishop h5 has been played, bishop d2. He also had an idea to develop the bishops through the b3 and bishop b2, but he went for a more solid approach, bishop d2, because sometimes he has also an idea to go with the bishop to e1. And here, when it all became pretty much crazy, knight e4 by Vaishali, immediately asking some questions of Salem. And after bishop c3, he had to be ready for some exciting action on the king side. As Salem said, he was expecting this, but he was almost sure it's not good. But we've seen Vaishali going for knight takes on f2. Even though computer says it's a mistake or inaccuracy, it was a very good try for Vaishali to make a composition very complex, to destabilize Saleh Salem in this game. And after he accepted that piece sacrifice, he had this very annoying pin on the king, which was very difficult to get rid of. After queen f1, queen b6, it looks like black is actually bringing more and more pieces into the action, building up a huge pressure against the white's king. And big question for white, how exactly to unpin? In this position, Salem went for the rook d1, which was slightly inaccurate. The better move would be knight d6, something which he also considered, but he was not really precise in some of the lines, because here, after rook coming to e6, he has a very nice move, knight f5, immediately challenging the bishop and asking the question, do you really want to take on f2? This could be something what happened in the game, but he went for a rook d1. Main idea was to stop the d4 push, and this was a moment where actually Vaishali could have gone for a very interesting line, taking with the bishop on f3. Bishop takes on f3. And in this case, she's going with d4, immediately pushing and creating a huge initiative. In this position, bishop has to go back to e1 to protect the rook with the bishop, because after knight e5, king h1, and after some trades, white must take on f2 with the bishop because queen is protecting the knight on b5. So after bishop takes, knight takes on f3, pawn takes on f3, there is some pretty much messy position with some weaknesses on the king side for white. Of course, black is down in exchange, but Vaishali would have a huge compensation. Instead, she went for a rook a d8, trying to push for d4. In this position, this was a miss according to computer. She missed this very nice bishop f3 idea, but it was also not so easy. And in this position became a moment where Salem didn't find anything better rather than bringing his bishops and his all pieces actually back to the back rank, trying to protect the rook, trying to get rid of the pin with the king h1. I mean, that's his main priority. Because if he manages to unpin himself, he's going to be just up on exchange and will have huge chances to win the game. So Vaishali went a little bit slow with the queen c5 in this position, king h1, very logical to removing the king from the pin. Now there is no more threat of the spin, so after, let's say, bishop goes to d3, rook is already free to go from the f2 square. Bishop g6 has been played, so Vaishali was taking a little bit slow. She was already under time pressure. She had 14 minutes on the clock. And here was a very interesting moment where Saleh Salem went for this very nice knight c7, attacking the rook, where there was absolutely brilliant resource by Vaishali. Unfortunately, it was missed in the game, but it's absolutely stunning move if she could have found it. Knight e7, not caring about the rook on e8, because after knight takes e8, knight comes to f5, and there are huge problems for white. Knight is going all the way to g3 with a fork and also winning a queen. So if you play something like king h2, there's going to be a check on f4, bishop f4 check. I mean, king has to go back, and actually it's a smothered mate to the queen. And the best move would have been in this position, actually, after knight e7, bishop b5, queen takes e7, bishop e8, bishop takes f2. A lot of trades are happening. Bishop takes f7, bishop takes f7, and bishop takes f2. I mean, this would have been something exciting if it would happen on the board, but of course, good luck picking it up during the game. It was very difficult. Unfortunately, it was missed by Vaishali. She went with a very natural move, rook e7, which apparently was the worst one. And here, Emirati Grandmaster strike with b4, and that was a moment where after the trade, Vaishali made a big mistake because she blundered one move. She went here with the queen to c2. She wanted to build up more pressure against the rook on f2. But unfortunately, knight d5 works for white very nicely. After knight takes d5, rook takes d5, rook takes d5. If after bishop f2, bishop f2 is happening, then Vaishali would have taken simply a piece on e2, and she would be better. But she missed in this position very nice rook d2 resource, which was a winning move in the game. And after a few precise moves by white, this position was achieved. So there has been some precise move here by white. The pawn on b7 at some moment is going to fall. There are two pawns for the piece for black, but there is not much black could do here. So we reached around this position. The pawn is already falling on b7, and after bishop e4, there has been a move knight d4. Of course, the trades are in favor of white all the time in this position. So Vaishali has still tried to trick a little bit with rook g6, knight take f6. So for example, in this position, if she would have taken the knight, the trades would have happened on the board, and she would be just down a piece, losing the game. But after king h7, she had still a chance for this very nice trickery idea. But unfortunately, in this position, Emirati Grandmaster saw the Queen C1 idea. So the whole idea was Queen C1. Let's say something like Queen B6 is being played. So Queen C1 with the idea to go for a Rook G2, super nice counter-attack with some ideas of holding the game. But he saw it and he played Rook B4, and in a couple of moves, Vaishali lost, and actually she lost also on time because it was move number 40. She had 4 seconds on the clock. It was very disappointing for Vaishali to lose this game because it was actually her second classical game against Saleh Salem. In the first classical game, in the classical portion, she had a huge chance for a win. I mean, she had absolutely winning position, and the 40th move she did was a huge mistake. And in this game, she also made a huge blunder, and Emirati Grandmaster managed to score a very important victory. Besides Saleh Salem winning against Vaishali, we held also other matchups in the Masters tournament. We had Limle, who managed to hold a draw against Abhimanyu Mishra, and Haik Martirosyan playing the draw against Pragnananda. We see right now that in Masters tournament, Limle is still leading with 25.5 points. Haik Martirosyan is in second place with 22.5 points. 2 points behind is Pragnananda, all together with Abhimanyu Mishra. And in challengers, after the super important victory against Vaishali, Salem Salem is clinching the win because no one can stop him anymore. So huge congratulations to Salem Salem for winning the challengers 2 rounds before the end of the challengers tournament of the Grandmaster Triathlon. So we had an amazing day today at the final stage, at the first round of the final stage, Grandmaster Triathlon. Tomorrow the action resumes at 2 p.m. Central European Summer Time here in Biel. We're going to follow the second round of the Grandmasters Triathlon of Challengers and Masters of the final stage. See you tomorrow. Take care.